Cheat Code.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Pickleball Cheat Code, the show for competitive pickleball players who are looking to level up their game. We focus on advanced strategies for experienced players, stuff only the pros really know. I'm Brodie Smith, a 5.5 plus level coach and a player, and I'm here with, again, a very special guest, Mr. Kevin Sati, aka Fear the Fro.
What's up, y'all?
Today, we're going to be breaking down everything you need to know on how to improve your singles game from our very own singles specialist. And then at the end of the episode, we'll be covering why singles is so good and important for your doubles game and why it translates so well. If we've done anything to improve your game, please share the show with your pickleball community. Kevin, as we chatted about a little bit and touched on in our last episode, is you're known as a singles specialist. I'm assuming the answer comes from you being a tennis guy, but what made you really want to dive into the singles world and make that your focus in the sport of pickleball? And why do you love singles in general?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it does come from tennis. I mean, it's no lie that, when I first got into pickleball, doubles was so foreign to me, the way that it was played, the dinking especially. So I honestly was about to quit the sport, if I'm being honest, when I first started, until I learned about singles being a thing, and I was shocked why it wasn't more popular. But yeah, it comes from tennis. But I love singles because at the base of it, it is so tiring and so it feels a lot more rewarding for my body and for myself. Feels like more of an exercise, and I guess honestly I just find it more fun when it comes to, I feel like it's more about your athletic ability and your reach, and something that I think benefits me as a player. But yeah, I mean, I'd say it definitely comes from tennis primarily, and kind of how I've played the sports in general. Doubles was initially a little bit too slow, and as I kind of learned the upper level of doubles, I've started to enjoy that as well. But we will touch on how the singles game has helped my doubles game tremendously.
I definitely want to get into that. But before we do, fact or fiction? Serving and returning is the most important skill in singles. What do you think?
Ooh.
You tell me. This is your world, I don't know. I'm a light singles guy. You're the singles guy. You tell me.
I'm going to say the most important. I'm going to say fact.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say fact.
Let's go. That's big.
Serves. No, both. I mean, both. I think there's so many, your drive game and even your net game are just so important. Mm-hmm. But the serve and the return set both of those up
100%
when done correctly. You can have, the best volleys in the world, but if your return is in singles specifically, right? If your return is too slow, too shallow, too not enough topspin on it, not enough pace, it doesn't matter how fast you can get to the net, as it does maybe more in doubles. You're going to get killed by most of these guys that passing shots or even drops. Yeah. And so I'd definitely say fact. And then for the serve, you should be going for your serves. I'm sure everyone's heard that. Everybody talks about this. You should be missing some serves when it comes to singles. Like, you should be absolutely going for your serves, because the better players that have good returns, if you don't have a good serve, they're coming up to the net, and
then you're cornered. And then
you're cornered, and you're having to hit. You're having to be Chris Hayworth to get past a lot of these guys if you have a serve that's weaker. So.
Are you stepping in? Because one of the new metas I'm seeing in pickleball is, like, I think Eric Onson's was huge for this too. That huge step through serve. You take like 3 steps back behind the service line, and then you're loading through it. I know Annalee's doing it too. I think Ben's doing a little bit of it too. Mm-hmm. Are you using that in your singles game at all?
No. So I started as not doing that at all. Mm-hmm. Then I would say 2-3 months ago, I started stepping into it. And then I just found that for me, it it didn't help as much for me because I serve with a full Western grip, and for me, I like being stationary. But I think the reason they do it is, I mean, you get more power, right? Your momentum going into the shot, you get more depth, and I do it a little differently. I will load up my right leg. I'll essentially stand in like an open stance position and really bend down and kind of try to push up and shift my momentum through the shot, trying to generate as much power. But I focus so much on like the arc because of the topspin with the grip I'm able to serve. And I could be wrong, but I think most of the guys you mentioned, they do have more of a Eastern serve. I don't think.
Interesting. I feel like I thought most did. I mean, I know I don't know the answer. I know you do. I thought it was more Western for some reason. I thought a lot of people did that. Or I guess a better question is, do you think most pros have a different grip on their serve than they do on every other shot? Like if they're going a little bit more Eastern, Western, kind of leaning into that for topspin. I feel like I've seen that pretty often. And then they shift back to their continental or their
I see what you mean. Like their version, they're more extreme on their serves,
exactly,
versus what I would say. I think most pros are probably doing that. Even I think my service, I mean, my drives and my forehand drive is the only extreme shot I think that I have. Everything else is like Eastern, kitchen game, drops and whatnot. But yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. But to your point, and to help, I guess, the viewers watching, I think stepping through is a very. I would definitely try it, and I would definitely. I think for me, because again, I have a 20 years of tennis background. The way I hit forehands is the same way that I serve. And
that's how I do it too, and it helps with my consistency. Just making sure I have the same shot every single time.
Exactly.
So I'm kind of the same as you for that. But like you said, like there's no right or wrong answer from that, because the people that are stepping through it are hitting the shit out of it. Dude, so it's scary.
I mean, the players. I played a kid named Dylan Lewis in Atlanta, and he had a very flat serve, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be easy to deal with. I'll just kind of tap. But this guy is like 3 feet behind the baseline, and he's stepping, and I'm like, I don't. It's just a bullet, and I'm just like, I can't take my swing. I can't. So it is. I think there's a lot of benefit in stepping through your serve. And honestly, if I had more time to drill, or if that was like a really big focus, and if my serve was weaker, I think I'd probably implement. And I tried it. I did try it, and I just think it wasn't for me. But I do think it's worth trying, because I think it does benefit most people.
So one thing that I find really interesting about singles, even more so than doubles, obviously doubles strategy is huge. Like that's what's so fun about pickleball. There's just so much strategy into it. But even me being like a doubles specialist, and that's being my favorite thing about pickleball, I think there's more strategy, and strategy is more impactful in singles. And that's something that I've noticed. I don't know if you agree with that too. It looks like you do. Yeah. But it's so crazy, because when I've noticed that, you can make some adjustments in a doubles match, like, hey, let me drive here, let me drop here, let me switch locations, and things will change a little bit. But if you switch up one thing in singles, like maybe you're like, you know what, I'm going to return down the line only, that can change a match night and day. It's so weird how these little things can change the outcome of a flow of a match, pacing, momentum. So I wanted to run through a few areas of the singles game and kind of like help create a playbook, so to speak, with your advice. So first area that I wanted to tap into, with that being said, is return of serve. What is your philosophy and thought process on return of serve locations? For example, down the line, obviously, you can go straight at the player or cross court, and then you have somebody like Chris Hayworth who says, I'm going straight for their dominant shot. I'm going to their forehand. It's all over the place. What's your philosophy? What's your take on that? Where do you typically like to go?
Okay. So I'm excited to talk about this.
Let's go.
Singles. I think about this so much. And I've shifted my opinions on this several times, but for return of serves, I've come to the conclusion that you want to return the ball location-wise, and we're gonna just assume that your goal, unless you're Chris Hayworth, is to get to the net and control the net. I think hitting a ball to the middle of the court on your returns, so straight to the middle, is is usually my number one go-to when I start playing my matches. Now,
and then like feel out from there and then adjust.
Because like you said, then you have to shift and adjust. Because if I'm playing Chris Hayworth, if I hit the ball to the middle of the court, he can pass me from that, I mean, any time.
Yeah.
If you're playing me and you return to the middle of the court, I actually struggle passing through the middle, or when the ball's in the middle and you're up at the net, I struggle, and most people do, creating angles, right? And what you also learn is when you return the ball to the middle of the court, you learn which shot they prefer to hit, because and most of the time it's forehands, but you'd be surprised. But you'll learn, because they're hitting from the middle of the court, they have time to either hit a forehand or a backhand, because they're already standing there. So you learn, okay, it looks like he's going around his forehand. He's not choosing to hit the backhand as much. So then you learn, okay, maybe I should attack his backhand more, just throughout the point, not necessarily on a return. But you're taking away a lot of angles. You're forcing them to play a softer game, and that can be a benefit. But you do pick up a lot from how they like to play. If you see that they like to play like a cat and mouse game, and you're someone who may, like me, for example, I don't feel very comfortable at the net, as opposed to someone who might, more of doubles specialists are actually going to feel more comfortable just getting to the net and playing that game. I might hit more angles on my return. So like Chris, right? Like I might return cross court to your forehand, because when I come into the net, I want you to try and pass me, because I don't like to catch balls below the net. I like to catch them all in my strike zone on the volleys. Yeah. So I might purposely choose to give you a shot that has more angle and almost bait you into hitting a drive, so that I can kind of block and swing out the air like I'm hitting like a half volley tennis.
And that's
style.
assuming they don't have a good cross court drop, for example, right?
Yes,
because that
exactly.
would be the counter to that, right? In terms of like the rock paper scissors of singles, you know.
Yeah. So I think middle to figure out their strategies.
Okay.
Down the line to make it, if you want to be optimal in coming up to the net, it's like, I mean, you're already covering kind of that side of the court. And then, I mean, and this is true too, right? Like you said, singles, I think strategy works so, like changing one thing can change everything, just because every player has, like, I mean, the amount of variables that, hey, he might be really good on, passing me down the line on his forehand, but if I hit it from a different angle, he might not like that as much. Like those little things you have to think about that I think changed the game entirely. As an example, I played this guy, he was I don't remember his name, but he was a 5'5". This was in Colorado a couple days ago. We were about even, and I was returning the ball. I was just kind of returning the ball to the middle, and I mean, he just kept dropping the ball, and I kept getting under the ball and missing it into the net. So I changed my strategy and said, okay, let me give him a little bit more angle, and let me give him a little bit less depth. So I actually hit the ball shorter, because
Interesting.
So just to test and see what he does. So anytime I give him angle, he liked to drive the ball. If I gave him more angle and I kept it shorter, that's where I found he wasn't as efficient. He didn't feel, he couldn't drive the ball, because you're shorter in the court and I keep him low. You can't drive the ball from so close in the court, and that's where I found his kind of weak spot. So a lot of times I'll go from my Western returns to literally holding a continental grip and just chipping it into the court, coming up to the net, and essentially forcing him to try and so you try to put him in awkward situations where they don't drill. Nobody drills that. For singles.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, they might have a good drop, so you have to. But I'd say if you're not sure where to go, return the ball to the middle. Even if you're trying to stay on the baseline, honestly, it just gives you more of less angles for them to hit on.
Yeah, it's just simply less angles. Yeah, and then if not, I feel like the worst would be cross court a lot, because you're giving him so much angle that. And then also, if you're going to try to close right on that next ball too, you're running across the court, which opens up kind of everything. But if you're going down the line and then you're going to crash, you're giving them less angle to work with in that regard too.
And you're giving them like you're giving them one option, or really you're giving them two options, but you're covering one of them. Whereas if you're hitting cross court and you're following that ball, they can break your ankles and go back cross court, and you don't know. Like, I mean, they might go either way, and you're in the middle of running, and so you're having to, they might, the whole left side is open, so I got to really cover it. But then, hey, they drop it cross court or they drive it cross court. Exactly. So that's a big thing. Whereas if you return the ball middle or line, middle usually, line more so to, I guess, make it a little bit more predictable. Then you just it's a little bit more, like I said, it's more predictable to cover the net.
Yeah, I struggle more when people just try to go at me straight up because people know my backhand isn't nearly as good as my forehand. My backhand drive isn't great at all, but it's not that hard to run around it. So when I'm going and running around it and I'm loaded up in a position on the left side of the court and I'm sitting there and I can go down the line, inside out roll, whatever it may be, it's a deadly spot to be in. And it's they think they got me, but it's like, no, you don't have me. I actually have
exactly.
you. So.
Yeah, exactly. No. And maybe we'll touch on it later, but having a weakness in your game is one of the most underrated weapons.
That's a bold take right there. No, let's dive into that.
Okay.
Having a weakness is a weapon. All right.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of get it from what I just said in a way.
You kind of what you just said.
Yeah.
So my backhand, similarly to you, is on a pro level at least, is something that gets attacked 24/7. So because that is my weakness, and it's one of the most obvious weaknesses that I have, it makes it an obvious choice for the opponent to go to. So everything I do when I'm serving, when I'm returning, when I'm crashing the net, whatever it may be, I know that they are going to do whatever it takes to hit the ball to my backhand. So because I know where they're going, I can plan around, and my biggest weapon is my forehand. And going around my backhand, like you said, and them coming in, and I'm already sitting on the left side of the court in after I've served the ball, I'm already sitting a little bit more to the left of the middle. And if they go to my forehand, I love my running forehand.
Oh yeah.
If they go to my backhand, well, I
got the angle, baby.
It got the angles. Exactly what I saw. Exactly, it's what I saw coming. And so I think I don't tell people to not care about work on your weaknesses, but don't underestimate that how much you can use your weakness to kind of understand what your opponent is going to do. Because if you have a all around great player, they're tough to play against, but you're more unpredictable to them because you're going to be trying to come up with different ways to, just move them around the court and but you having a obvious weakness makes it easier for you to have a plan for what you're going to do.
True.
So that's kind of the way that's helped me recently to perform against some really, really good players. Like they'll be attacking my backhand for the first half of the match, and okay, well they're going to my backhand every time, so I'm just running around everything and hitting. Look at Jack Sock. I think he's a good example. He's a pro, so I can't say his backhand is bad. But in comparison to if you're looking at his backhand is the weaker shot, and you could see all the pros are targeting his backhand. And so, does he work on his backhand? Probably. I don't know how much Jack drills. Honestly, his tennis background is so freaking. He looks like he just walks out there and just freaking runs around he's just playing tennis out there. But I think his forehand is such a big weapon that he's able. You see how far he's able to get in these tournaments just off of playing around his backhand. He doesn't need to have a backhand.
That's all I have to do. That's led me to two. I've done 2 PPA singles tournaments ever. One was a 4-5 and I got silver, and then one was a 5-0 and got silver. This was a couple years ago, and it was all from just running around my forehand and just opening up angles.
I'm telling you, dude.
I was going to say in the 4-5, I get to the finals and I go against Rafa Leonard, and then that's when I figured out who Rafa was. I had no idea who he was. This was 2.5 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
He didn't know what level he was, so he went and did 4-5.
Sure.
Wiped the floor with me. I was like, that's when I realized the levels of just the levels that there are in singles. I was like, maybe I can get into singles pickleball. And I was like, oh my God, he put a cap on it. He humbled me so quickly. I think it was 11-3, then 11-1 or something like that. It was so funny. I was like, dude, this guy's unbelievable.
That's Rafa Leonard.
Shout out Rafa.
Crazy.
Rafa, you're the GOAT.
That's awesome.
But yeah. Okay, let's talk about crashing though. So this is interesting as well, because I feel like one of the metas now, that we're seeing is a lot of players just stay baseline and they just grind it out because people are getting so good at passing shots. But it really depends at what level we're talking about, whether this is the top pros in the world that are just going to be hitting these passing shots because they're so good. But most players aren't that good at passing shots, especially for all of our listeners and myself included. Like, I'm not playing 5 plus level singles players. So in that context, what is your strategy there, and what's kind of your advice and philosophy behind crashing? Is your goal to return and get in every single time?
It's a tough this is a tough topic. I'm always going to say it depends on your opponent, but even the way I look at it, you have some anomalies, right? You have Chris Hayworth and you have Hunter Johnson. I'd say those are like the two. You have, I guess, Roscoe. He's a beast. And then, but even Roscoe, I think he plays more net than Hunter and Chris. But outside of that, I think
we have to ignore the anomaly. I mean, that's such a good thing to point out. But for this, we have to ignore it because this is what I look at all the time too. I'm like, God, they're just staying back. Then I was like, wait a second, I'm not Roscoe. I'm not
exactly.
Johnson.
No, it's exactly. And I'm bringing them up because you have them, but then you have Federico Staksrud, who is, I mean, he has amazing drives. He's a really good hybrid player. I think he's a great example of. He's somebody that I think I've been looking up to when it comes to modeling my strategy because he can play the baseline game and he will, but he will still, you could see that his main goal is getting to that net. And I would just say, if you're playing somebody who's not that great at passing, I think your goal should be, or honestly, most of the people watching, your goal should be to hit a great return and come into the net. I would still say that is by far on a 3-0 to I would even go as far as 5-0 level.
I was about to say 5-0 probably, yeah.
3-0 to 5-0 level, I think if you can get to the net efficiently, hit good returns, that is still going to be the number one way to play pickleball. Now, you have to look at your game too, right? Like, I love my drives. I mean, that is something that, but even I have to be honest with myself and understand that I'm playing guys that are, a bunch of these guys are like 6'2" and or just really good at covering the net and playing at the net. A lot of these guys come from doubles. So I understand that the percentages are always going to be higher for the person coming up to the net versus the person trying to stay on the baseline. So throughout the point, it may not be right off the return, maybe hit a third or fourth shot.
Do you come in more often right after that return? Like, are you just hitting and running? Because some people do that. They just hit and run at the same time.
Yeah, they do.
But that causes a lot of errors for people too because they're so focused on
just coming up and and they get ahead of themselves.
Yeah.
And
I always make the analogy of it's like an NFL wide receiver. You have to catch the ball and secure the ball before you run your route. As if a receiver tries to catch and run the route at the same time, that's where they fumble, that's where they drop. So it's the same thing. It's like hit your shot first, focus on that, kind of separate the movements, and then let your momentum carry you in, right after that naturally.
Yeah, because if somebody hits a crazy deep serve, you don't you're done. Like if you try to come up on that, it's over. So I think having the mentality of the quality of the shot, the quality of the return is much more important than the speed at which you get to the kitchen. Because if I hit a really good return and pull them off the court or whatever, it's deep, low ball, I can still hit this ball and then start kind of running in, and I could stop. And somebody, Connor Garnett does this really well. He does. You don't get all the way to the kitchen. You can stop, not like a little past the transition zone, and you can essentially explode into the ball wherever they try to hit it, right? So instead of getting all the way to the kitchen, and this is why I think Fed is really good. He'll get all the way to the kitchen, and his movement side to side is absurd. Whereas somebody like, even if like when you watch Chris Hayworth, the few times that he does come into the net, he doesn't get all the way to the kitchen. He gets like a couple feet behind the kitchen, and every volley that he's hitting, he's essentially like exploding diagonally and cutting the ball off. So you get that extra time.
Forward though, right? Like into
forward.
It, right?
Into it. And this comes from like a tennis, a little bit of a tennis, like, because in tennis you're really kind of moving
Oh yeah, that's true.
into the ball a lot.
Yeah.
And you're cutting off the angle. So while you're giving them more angle, you're giving yourself a lot of space to kind of explode and cover that angle and time as well. So I've played around with that a lot. I always prioritize stopping and giving myself time to react over trying to get all the way up to the kitchen, because a lot of times you play guys and that's when you're going to get caught a lot. So my philosophy is you should still play to get to the kitchen line. But like it has to be like a hybrid, and I would almost say when you're returning the ball, focus on hitting a really good return before you're kind of moving into the shot. And you get better at some people are. You're playing somebody who has maybe a weaker serve, and you might stand. I don't know if you know Troy Aiken.
Oh yeah, so Troy who just won the
challenger, and
nice
I was watching some of that, and you watch him play. I mean, he talks about this a lot too. He's returning from way back, and he steps into his returns really well. But if he's able to recognize, like, hey, the ball's bouncing on that line. I mean, they're serving the ball straight to the baseline at my feet. He can hit that return and say, okay, that's not a ball I'm going to come up on, and he stays back. But he's also, when you get that short return, you're able to like capitalize and kind of move through the ball as well. So it's very situational, but yeah, I could talk about that all day. I mean, it's just a placement of the ball and all that. But I think
what I've been doing is I'm only crashing it if I feel like they're going to be off balance. That's just my like little rule of thumb that I've been following with not too much thought behind it, and it's effective enough, because there's so many times where I'm like, oh, I just ripped the shit out of that return, and then I'm approaching and I'm like 2 steps away from the kitchen and I still get past, and I'm like, dude, what's going on? It's like, I can't tell if it's my footwork and net coverage where I'm just like not moving side to side athletically enough, or if it's like I genuinely should not have come in, and it's hard to discern the difference between those two situations. Yeah,
no, it is. I think somebody that has shown the importance of balance at the line is Tama.
Yeah. Skateboarding balance, dude.
No tennis bat. Yeah, dude. I know. And surfing, I think he also does that.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, no tennis background. This kid is generally coming up on return. His serves are not huge in comparison to.
That's true.
I mean, he's generally coming up. So, like, you don't have to rip these balls and come in. I think placement matters a lot. And I do think that there are wrong and right times to come up to the net. Mm-hmm. But I think there's also optimal ways to move at the net, like how you cover the court. And a lot of that comes from like where you're returning. If you're returning to the middle of the court, you're going to be able to cover that a lot better. But then again, you watch, a lot of people try to neutralize Chris Hayworth by returning everything to the middle and coming up, but they get destroyed anyways. But again, that only works for him, right? So I think it's still important to the tournament I played in. I played a challenger in Newport. I played against Will McKinnon. Is that how you say it?
McKinnon, yeah.
McKinnon. Played against Will McKinnon. And one thing I told myself that tournament, and we kind of talked about this in the last episode, is I'm going to come into the net no matter what. And I came up to the net when I shouldn't have. I came up to the net when it made sense. I just told myself, just go up. And I learned a lot about reading the ball, reading the player's tendencies. If you're only coming up once, that's not enough of us, and then you get passed. And then you're like, okay, well, that was too good. He passed me. I shouldn't come up. It's not enough of a sample size to say, like, this guy is just a beast. Most people are not passing you 10 times in a row.
For sure. Because there's so many times where I'm coming in and I feel like I'm a soccer goalie taking a PK, and I'm just like, I have to just completely guess one way or the other. I'm like, God damn it. Should have gone right. I'm like.
And it's like you have to come in more times to understand, like, their specific tendencies, like how they hit this ball down the line every time, or they... all right, cool. I shouldn't return to the forehand side. Let me try the backhand side. Let me go to the middle. So I still think it's very important to try and get to the net in singles.
Here's another question I just thought of, because you're talking about Tama's balance. Here's something that I don't do ever, because I just never got comfortable with it from not having a tennis background. How often are you sliding, and how important is sliding? I don't slide. I have to run through my shots, because I feel like if I try to plant my foot and slide, that my whole leg will snap in half. Is what my brain tells me. I'm like,
right.
So, tell me, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, I slide very naturally from tennis because I played tennis on clay courts a lot. So like that's kind of where I got it. Obviously, Thomas sliding because he's skateboarding. I wouldn't say it's like something you need to drill or like necessarily add to your game if you don't have it. But if it's natural to you, it's super. Here's the way I would compare it. I usually don't slide at the kitchen. I slide on the baseline. So when somebody's coming in and hitting to my forehand, instead of running and trying to like sit in like a perfect open stance, like low position, trying to hit like a down the line pass, all I have to do is slide because I'm splitting my legs, which brings my eye level down, brings me below the ball. And so I feel like I can really brush up on the ball when it's an off balance position. But in reality, I'm actually lower to the ground, below the ball, able to do a lot more from it. And I personally find that to be the biggest benefit of sliding. Maybe, I mean, when you're hustling, it could be pretty nice you're sliding, it's like a natural stop as opposed to like taking a lot of stutter steps after you're done stopping.
That's what I'm doing, and I'm just like, I feel like a Flintstones character. That I'm just like still moving my feet or whatever. It's crazy.
And so, I mean, like, I'd say it's a lot, like, you could, I mean, dude, drill it, shoot.
That's the thing is I've never tried it. I've never tried it.
So I had a kid that was insisting on me teaching him how to do it. And I taught him. So this is what we did. I actually took him out to a tennis court, it was a clay tennis court, and I just had him slide. Like I told him, hey, how do you do it? Just slide. And just showed him how to do it, and eventually he kind of picked up on it, and he tried doing it on like a pickleball court. It was a little scary to watch, but but he did, and eventually kind of pick it up. And I think he's gonna end up I think he'll end up doing it a lot more, but. There is a way to like I think drill it and get it done, but I think it's much more. I think it's easier to drill like stopping your footwork and like balancing learning to balance off of the footwork you already have. I think Tama is a great we look at Tama and he's like an anomaly when it comes to balance and like he's able to hit shots that look like he's off balance, but he's not. But it speaks to the importance how important balance is. We can't balance ourselves like Tama, but we can learn to balance ourselves because we see that he's showing how important balance really is. I mean, he's all over. He doesn't even look like he's that fast.
He doesn't even look like he's trying hard. He's a tenth of the size of Roscoe. He's the size of Roscoe's hand, and he's still somehow covering the whole court. I don't get it. It bothers my brain. I don't get it.
It bothers me just as much. And I'm watching these guys like 24/7 trying to understand. And he covers the net like he's 7 feet tall.
It makes no sense.
I'm just like, what? How?
Is he like doing like a shuffle step and then it's like a drag? Like, what's his footwork like, do you think?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's like
a Hayden shuffle, and then like a plant and then a stretch.
Yeah, and like I do this a lot on the baseline, but it's like you're almost slowing yourself down. Like you couldn't get to the ball without sliding most of the time. Like it's actually a slow. You are usually close enough to where like you don't need to slide, but then you'll have those extra like steps at the end. That in our heads it makes more sense to just slide there. And then you slide. It's like a perfect timing. You slide, and now you hit the ball, and you're already your feet are already planted to get back to the middle or get back to position. But yeah, I think he is doing like you take a lot of small steps right before you slide, and then you take that big stride because it just I don't know. It helps the recovery process. It's so natural. I don't even really think about it if I'm being honest.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
But Tama is even crazier. He slides at the kitchen line. And he what's impressive about him is most people can only slide with one foot. I can only slide leading with my right foot.
Yeah.
So and then to the back, like if I slide on the backhand side, it's usually in a closed stance. Like I have to lead with my right foot. Whereas Tama is really good at doing open stance like both ways. He's able to slide.
He just stays square and stretches and just reaches.
I can't slide with my left foot. I've tried and I'm scared. Like I'm just as scared as you are to just slide. I can't slide with my left leg. I just can't do it. So.
Have you tried it? Have you tried drilling it, like even on clay courts, and it still doesn't,
Yeah, dude, I just...
It's like a mental block, right?
It's a mental block for me because maybe I'm just so used to just closing it. And
yeah, that makes sense.
It's drillable. It's definitely drillable, but I don't think I've tried it enough. I probably have to spend like a week sliding on that.
Do you think the return on investment for you to do that would be worth it? Like Jenny, or like you said earlier, it's kind of like a nice to have, but not a need to have. But obviously, you already have it on the right side, which is probably more important. So it's less so of a nice to have at that point.
Definitely nice to have. I don't think it's like useless. I think if you want to drill it and you feel like it's gonna be a nice addition, like. It's nice to have. So I think if you have time in your hands and like you're not training to be a pro and you don't have like a limited schedule and there's not other things that are a lot more important for you to work on, like why not? I think it'd be it's a fun thing to learn. I wouldn't be, I don't know. I'm not opposed to it. That's why it's like that kid that asked me to learn it. Like I was like, yeah, let's do it. Why not?
Yeah.
So
and
I think
it's bring him home to his mom and he has a broken ankle. And she's like, what'd you do?
Dude, I was so freaking scared. I was like, dude, his parents are not going to be happy with this.
Okay, that is part 1 of the Singles Pickleball Playbook. Stay tuned for next week as we get into part 2. Again, here with Fear the Fro. Thanks for listening and share the show with your pickleball community. Thanks, everyone.